I need to ask you a question.
Be curious, Drifters.
Allegron's won the Brisbane Cup, but it's all Antino. Blake Shin take a bow. Barraquil, Benny Allen hasn't moved.
Broadside him, bogged, won the Golden Rose.
Pride of Jenny trying to find the reserves at the 100. She's 3 in front of Mr. Brightside. It's all too late. Pride of Jenny has run them into the night. Switzerland, the big winner by 2.5 Bellatrix Star.
He's down, Jolly Star. She is a star in the making. Jolly Star bolts in.
It's all Isthmus. She's very smart and fast.
Well, what a day 2 of the Champs. Are you a bigger fan of day 1 or day 2?
What's today? What's Saturday? Sydney Cup, Oaks,
Queenie
Queen Elizabeth.
and the other one, Queen of the Turf.
Oh, day 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Donny's a sick race.
TJ,
TJ's a sick race.
Derby.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a great day still.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Queen Elizabeth put up some memorable moments, hasn't it? Recently, Pride of Jenny, think it over.
Ride of the century, they're saying. 2 rides of the century in the last 3 years.
God. Wonder if that could happen again this year. Might.
Maybe.
It might. No, very excited. What about you? What do you reckon?
Yeah,
Day 1, day 2?
Day 1. But, I think it's a good day to be a favourite because I'm going to bash you this weekend.
I'm favourite bashing this weekend. Like, nothing special. If you're looking for left field takes, particularly in the Group 1s this weekend, Drifters, you might need to look elsewhere.
What we might have to do is a bit of a Richo's Ruffy situation where we can provide that.
If I was going to back something at double figures,
Yeah.
it could be one of those weekends where it's just an all-time bookies getting absolutely smacked, which I love to see, or it could be the polar opposite. It could be a bloodbath,
Which is why we need to have a bet each way.
Yes.
Which is why, there's going to be a lot of down the line, but what you guys listen to us for is, all right, if something is to happen outside of the ordinary here, let's try and find it.
Yes.
Before we get into that, I'm reading just now in the screen in front of me that Alligator Blood's finally retired.
Hasn't raced for 18 months?
Yeah, just about.
They tried to bring him back. I think he was doing some track work and
Some heat was detected in his leg this morning. So Chris Waller, if that could be news to some people that Chris Waller was the official trainer currently. So he's finally been retired. So thank God for that, because he owes the sport of racing and his owners, and I guess just participants, punters, absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Bizarre that they tried to bring him back anyway, but we're not the owners, so whatever. Great career, the Blood. I will never forget you winning the Stradbroke and re-announcing yourself as a genuine Group 1 weight for age horse.
7-time Group 1 winner. Mm-hmm. That is unbelievable. Stradbroke, Champions Mile,
Futurity, 2 Underwoods.
Yep. Australian Guineas.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do it? Can we bloody do it? Stradbroke. Do we say Stradbroke?
Don't know if we said Stradbroke. Stradbroke, Champions Mile, Futurity, 2 Underwoods.
What I said just before.
Australian Guineas.
Yeah.
There's one missing.
Some people are yelling at us.
Yeah, they are.
But
Sorry, Drifters.
That's okay.
Seven's a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's too many to actually remember.
It is.
So,
You'd
Might
love
and
to-
Power, maybe?
Yeah, maybe the Might and Power.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I reckon did he beat Zaki that day when Zaki was like $1.30 or something?
Maybe. Maybe.
Anyway, love the Blood. For a horse that couldn't run over 2,000 metres, he won over there. He did his best.
Just a good, tough horse.
Yeah, loved it. It's actually what we're lacking in our way for
Sure is.
All right, so the Randwick, currently rated a soft 6, but fine weather should tune that up a little bit.
Yep.
Rails out 3 metres for the program. Sunny weather on the weekend, so should be all favours to anyone who's at Randwick this weekend. I'm extremely jealous of you. Now, race 1 is the Fernhill Mile, 1,600 metres listed for the 2-year-olds, 7-horse field. Don't really know where to look. There's different form lines here. It's a tough little contest to kick off the day.
It's a little let through to the keeper type race. This is a race that Broadsiding won last year, and then he had the quick back up into the Champagne and put them away on a bottomless deck. It was bottomless.
Yeah.
I don't have a firm opinion, unfortunately, in this race. I guess you could look at the Flemington form with Polish Playgirl. The Hawk stable is absolutely flying with their 2-year-olds at the moment. So I think she's probably the one. Third up, could show some improvement. But, don't have any particularly strong opinions about this race. What about you?
Michelangelo's a well-named horse.
Very well named.
Hasn't really featured in the finish yet, but I think it's the first time he sees hopefully a good track. So maybe they'll bring the best out of him. I don't know. I don't really know any of these. Have to do more. Race 2 is the South Pacific Classic. 1,400 metres listed for the 3-year-olds at Hope Open Handicap grade. I have a feeling this one's going to one of the Victorians here in Sergeant Major or No Strings Attached, because the rest of these are no good.
Yes, I agree. I was probably more in camp No Strings Attached. Winning form's good form. And I feel like the Busted and Young stable, when they send something up to Sydney, typically has a pretty good strike rate. Blakey Bill gets the nice draw. I was keen. No strings attached. Winning form's good form, mate.
I thought Sergeant Major, his his first up run over 1,200 metres, which he was running over 1,800 at the end of last prep. And then they pulled the pin on a Derby campaign. Potentially having a race like this in mind for the autumn. He was good in the Zedative, only beaten about 2 lengths there behind the likes of Tropicus and Lofty Arch, who are, 3-year-old Group 3 sprinters at best. And then behind Autumn Glow, he was 4th there, beaten 5 lengths, but he remained at the 1,200. He's gotten out to 1,800. He gets to the 1,400 here. Barrier 3 should do absolutely no work. I think I'm leaning towards Sergeant Major, which will be music to the ears of the new dad in our group, Joshua McClelland.
Yeah, true.
He does love that horse.
He does. The only other one in the market is the Johnny Sargent filly number 11, Meridiana. Johnny Sargent, for mine, particularly with the 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, I feel like he has a bit of a throw at the stumps and he'll just chuck them in a black type when they've been racing in the middle of nowhere. Meridiana fits that mould. Has one run for 1 win on the Kenzo a few weeks ago. Trialled a bomb recently and trialled a bomb before that. So pretty aggressive placement, but it's showing some respect in the market. $5 with Neds.
Yeah.
The apprentice on. Bit too soon?
Potentially. One at double figures, you would remember that there was 2 fillies in the Carbine Club Stakes on Derby Day last year. And Kanara went there, and she was actually the more favoured of the 2. And then Aliana's gone on to do what Aliana's done.
Yes.
Now, 1,400 metres, her last run was at 1,400 metres, and she only just missed, but she was going from 1,100 to 1,400 there. 1,400 here, nice big track like Randwick should suit her down to the ground. Barrier 6, Zachy Lloyd, $12, not the worst.
Not the worst.
Yeah. Leo agrees. I was considering doing the Midway Championship final.
Well, you're the Midway Moral, so just give us an opinion.
I think Matcha Latte, I think it is going to go up favourite. Just a good horse.
Just a good horse.
Yeah, better than Midway grade, you know what I'm saying? Especially at set weights. I think that's one of the better bets on the program, to be honest. Should be kicking dust in their faces, I reckon.
The Midway Moral would know.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the last time a Midway was run, I think the horse ran last that the Midway Moral picked. But I think there was 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row before that. Now, the Percy Sykes is race 4 on the program, 1,200 metres, Group 2 for the 2-year-old fillies at set weights and penalties grade. Now, I was convinced Bjorn was just going to go hey, we paid 30 grand for this filly. let's just put her away. She's had a taxing prep. She failed to finish in the Golden Slipper, but yet here is within the law at $5. Do I want to be backing her off the back of that? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. $5 to find out. Like, I couldn't talk you out of a bet because she showed so much up until the Golden Slipper. And if she's okay, she's okay. Like, do horses remember things like that? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. So couldn't begrudge her. I think Tempted as well. Could run a good race. I thought Inkaruna from the Freedman stable, lightly raced filly, who was charging home in the Riesling Stakes behind Tempted.
And
Mahuna. That's pretty good form. She's $4.80, so short enough, but I think she's the one. With Mark from Gate 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it's between those three for me.
Yeah.
Memo's not up to that grade. Broke it stuck last start. Military Tycoon was okay in the slipper, but was still beaten 4.5 lengths. And you can have the rest, really. So, yeah, one of those three for me is yet to decide. Disappointing Arrowfield. 1,200 metres, Group 2 for the 3-year-olds at set weights. Like Autumn Glow, $1.50 favourite. Probably deserves to be, but, you know, she's not bulletproof. Keeping at the 1,200 metres, she's probably just better.
I think she's so much better. I think she's got lengths on these, even over 1,200 metres. And the $1.50 would suggest that is the case. And then you look at the next two in the market, Private Life and Public Attention. Private Life has been mid-as this prep. And then Public Attention, he probably is more of a sprinter, but trip to New Zealand, 1,500 metres, comes back to 1,200 metres. Not the worst. I think he probably will end up being more of a sprinter. Enriched.
Yeah,
Only horse to win from the Coolmore.
My guy.
He's $7. He's $12, sorry. He's double figures. But I just think she's got lengths on him. Panels.
Yeah. Todd Panels.
Yep.
Yeah, like Enriched for me is just in a good vein of form, and I think he's a little bit underrated still at $12. So 1x3 sort of stuff. Like, I'd rather have a place bet on him than Private Life or Public Attention, in my opinion. Private Life, yes, he's been in the CF4 and the Futurity, which is obviously far better form references, but 14 to 12, I don't know. Do you see him as like a sprinting type in future? Because he ran well in the Champions Sprint.
He did. I think he's just a type who's like he might have had a couple of flashing lights and then people are going to keep looking for it, but it's never going to come back. That's what I think of Private Life.
Because is this going to be like the one that Chris Waller sends to like Victoria for a William Reid? You know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. It's like, all right, it's my C-grade sprinter. May as well send him to wherever.
Yeah, potentially. He sort of gives me, like, we've had a few of them recently in the Caulfield Guineas, like Graf. Like,
Graf.
Like, he won a Caulfield Guineas and was finishing down the field, down the track for the rest of his starts. Like, Private Life just peaked on the day and ran well in the Champions Sprint.
Yeah.
Ran okay first up, but no.
Graf?
Yeah, he won the Caulfield Guineas.
Did he?
Yep.
Caulfield Guineas winners. Let's have a look here. Oh, Griff you're thinking of.
Griff, not Graf, sorry.
Because Graf, I was like, the Australian Blood horse. Like,
the Australian Bloodstock horse, no, Griff.
That horse was running around against like Red Zell. I'm like, huh?
Plenty of Griff Graf on this podcast, so how much for free? Fucking
Griff, that's right. Yeah, he was dross, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Yeah. It's chips in on Autumn Glow, I think.
Yeah.
The Australian Oaks, 2,400 metres, Group 1 for the 3-year-old fillies at set weights. Treasure the moment, barrier 2 with Frosty on. $1.65 she is. I had a look at her dam. So, Draconic Treasure being out of Street Cry, she never got over 10-year-old mare currently. Never got over 1,800 metres. But Treasure the Moment's already won an Oaks over 24, or 25 down in Victoria. So does it really matter? She's probably better than a lot of these, but this is probably the most testing conditions that she's had, I'd say. Like a Lucy with J-Mac on, who won the New Zealand Oaks over in Kiwi land, and then Belle Tell on the quick backup, the three-quarter sister to VE, makes it a bit more interesting.
It does, yeah. Back to a dry deck. Treasure the moment. Like, you could probably have a few question marks around her, but for mine, she's drawn perfectly. She's gone back to a dry deck. I don't think she's had a grand final yet. I think this has always been the grand final, and she's just peeling off wins on the way. So if she peaks, then none of these will beat her. But I can see out of all the shorties, there's probably one other, but this is the one where you're sort of like, okay, well, what if Belle Tell just finds a new gear on the quick backup stretching out to 2,400 metres? Is it Lisa Lucy, the New Zealand Oaks winner? Got to respect them. She's $5. Verona Rose was closing off really nicely in the Vinery. You Wang, is that a big price? It ran pretty well last start. So you could probably make an argument that Treasure the Moment is vulnerable here, but I would never encourage anyone to dive into $1.65, but I'm not going to take her on.
No. Yeah, you're right.
Frosty will get her into the perfect position. And a few of these will give her a bit of a race, but she could peak herself and go to a level we've never seen before. She could.
I think what's really taken me by Belle Tell is like she was kicking off at like over the mile, 1,300 meters. Like so, at her second ever start in maiden grade, she ran second to Chamois over 1,600 meters down in Victoria. Got beaten in maiden grade on the Heath track. Eventually broke her duck over the mile, but then you just see her stepping up to 2,000 meters. It's just like, oh, okay, you're looking for ground girl. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm really, really fascinated to see what she does over 2,400. Just like her three-quarter sister got better with distance. So really keen to see how she goes, but do I really want to back her to beat Treasure of the Moment? Probably not. Yeah. She's the most likely outside, I feel.
Yep, fair enough.
Okay. Sydney Cup. I've got a good roughie here. But LL Cance is your $2.50 favourite for the 2 mile handicap, Group 1. She is incredibly well placed here, though, LL Cance.
Yeah. If you look at her last start, most of the things that was finishing further away from back in this race, she had 56.5 kilos last start. Birdman had 53. She drops 4.5 kilos. Birdman drops 3. And Birdman was coming after her, but she was strong to the line. So there is a risk, like, she's never stretched out over this distance before, but she's incredibly well placed. I don't mind the wide gate at all because she makes her own luck up on pace. I don't think there's going to be an awful amount of pace in this race to throw her off a game. Like, the Duke will roll forward. He'll run super. He's only got a lug 56.5 kilos, but I think he'll run well. Who else will sort of lob forward out of this?
River of Stars, potentially. Zaria, some of the internationals. LL Cance will definitely go forward as well. Zardozi proved not to be too far off him as well in some of her runs this prep. Like, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a red hot pace.
No.
But I think you still need something that needs to kind of run it out. And I wonder if they'll ride her a little bit differently, because she's really kicked up the pace about 800 from home in her last 2 starts, and just had these stayers, these frankly dross stayers, just their wheels were spinning.
They were
like, oh my God, what are you doing to us? We're not used to this.
Yeah.
So I'm interested. Barrier 15 to me is probably not ideal because, she hasn't run out this distance. But if you're going to take her on, exposed form, you've got to have some sort of confidence, I feel.
Yeah. I think she's rightful favourite and rightfully sub $3.
Yeah. Well, are you going to back her on the weekend?
Yeah, I'll back her.
Yeah.
If she's anywhere around $2.50, you can happily back her.
Right. Interesting. I've good roughie in the race.
Yep.
I thought that Cleveland has found some form. Now, you would remember that 2 years ago, he came over with some very high credentials.
Real high credentials.
Started $4 favourite, ran third last, beaten 30 lengths. Did have an internal bleed though. Was beaten by no other than my guy Explosive Jack at 40 to 1. You're welcome. If only the profiles were, around back then, because you would have seen it. But he was only first up after half a year off with Hugh Bowman on board in the Manion Cup against LL Cairns, beaten 5 lengths short, but he just got the stitch late, and he was one of the few that was actually coming through the pack. 57.5 kilos there, drops 6 kilos. LL Cairns still meets him better at the weights. Barrier 18 does suck. Jamie Mellamon, I could see him in the finish here. And at 34 to 1, I'm happy to have that play. Chris Lees is having a bit of a moment as well.
He is.
So,
He is.
like others, Birdman obviously, but he's $9. Like Valiant King, I thought was pretty good, but his draw sucks as well. What are your thoughts on Zardozi?
2,000 metres to 3,200 metres is a big jump. She's been racing well this prep, really well. Don't like the setup she's had, and I question whether this was always going to be on the cards for Zardozi. If this was her grand final, I would suggest that James Cummings wouldn't have ran her at 14, then 16, then 18, then 2,000. Probably would have had another run in between that, over 24 or 26 or something like that. I think the Australia Cup was always the grand final, but she should have been in the Tancred, and then she should have come to this.
Like Circle of Fire.
Yep.
He's kind of found some form back as well, last year's winner.
Yeah.
Barrier 22 doesn't help his causes.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So ALL Cairns, easily.
Yeah, comfortably.
Yeah.
Comfortably on top. From what we've seen in the last two runs, she just puts herself up on pace, tough, and she's been getting further away from them. Who's to say that she's not going to thrive getting out over further?
Potentially. But friend of the podcast, Craig Sneesby, his words ring in my head. 24 to 2,600 up to 3,200 may as well be an additional 2 mile.
It is different gravy. It really is. It really is.
So no roughies that you want to throw out.
I think you've highlighted all the right ones.
Oh, thank you.
I think you really have.
Thank you so
I
much.
think I'd make a push for Valiant King.
Yeah.
He looks dour.
He does, doesn't he?
Look dour.
Yeah. I reckon they were hoping to get a soft draw so they could use the gate.
Yeah.
But that did not eventuate.
That did
You know what's telling in I guess the jockey bookings here. It's like Birdman has Zach Lloyd on at 50 kilos, and then Valiant King has Reece Jones. Now, not that many can actually get down to that weight. The Melbourne Cup winning jockey, cousin Robbie Dolan, is on number 17, Garro Chico.
Interesting.
So could he
Cousin,
at 70 to 1?
cousin Robbie, could he jag another one?
Yeah. Knock everyone out of the quaddie twice. All right, Queen Elizabeth, 2,000 metres, Group 1, weight for age, good stuff, one of the best. Where is she? Via Sistina, $1.90. 14 starters. Fangirl is a scratching. How'd you see this? Competitive.
Yeah, super race. Such a good race. Really looking forward to it. Geez, there's some big prices for some good horses. Like Dubai Honor, rightfully so, $6.50. But then you look at the Japanese thing, Rhaosham Park, and you might have a better grip on its form than I do. But it's been racing against some of the best horses in the world. Light Infantry Man was super in the Aussie Cup last start. He's 16s. Cheer Wolf on the quick backup. Hopefully gets some fast pace. 14s. Kitty Cat Tom on the quick backup. 20s. Buckaroos, 15s. The list goes on. So there's some really big prices, and I think if you're going to get a sub $2 favourite beaten today, being Saturday, I think this is probably the race because there's just so much quality where from gate one, if Via Sistina finds some trouble, you could probably get it beat. But in all that being said and done, I still think she wins this race because I really like the setup for her. Based on the race shape, I think there's going to be a fair bit of pace with Deny Knowledge. I know that we don't have Pride of Jenny, but with Deny Knowledge and with Full Count Felicia, who apparently went too slowly up front last start and they want to go at a truer pace, I think there'll be enough pace in this race injected for Via Sistina to perform at her best. This has always been the grand final for her. If she does anything similarly to what she did in the Cox Plate or the Champions Stakes at Flemington a few weeks after that, I think she'll be incredibly hard to beat. But you've got to respect a lot of the things in this field. You've got to respect Dubai Honor based on what he did last start. Back to 2,000 metres, I don't mind that. I just think with the dry deck, Via Sistina has the edge, but she's short enough. Like she's $1.90. Wouldn't be surprised if she gets to $2, but also wouldn't be surprised on the flip side if she gets like $1.70. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm keen enough for this race again. Like it's favourite bashing today.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Yes. So Rhaosham Park, had a look back at its form. So did run in the Hong Kong Cup against Romantic Warrior, beaten 5 lengths there that day, beaten by the likes of Prognosis, who we saw in the Cox Plate, who was beaten a length that day. Straight Aaron, ex-Australian horse, beaten less than a length there. He does some good work.
He does some good work.
Yeah. So probably 3 lengths off Prognosis is the gauge I'm getting. Interesting that Damien Lane was actually riding him in Hong Kong that day. Not riding him here, he's riding the stablemate. So,
interesting.
That could be telling, but I'm just having a look through the jock. I think this is his regular jockey. So 7 rides, 4 wins, 2 seconds and a third.
Christophe Lemaire.
Yes. So interesting developments there, if indeed the RaceNet stats are correct, which I'm hoping they are. But yeah, I think there will be more speed here with Denied Knowledge. Like Linda Mann, of course.
Yep,
as
here's
well.
one I forgot.
Full Count Felicia as well. I think, this will have a bit of a genuine pace, I feel. What do you do with Cheerwolf?
What do you mean?
Well, this was the race that Jack Pride was talking about in the spring. It's like, we're pulling up stumps. We're going towards a Queen Elizabeth because we want to take on the big boys and girls.
Yep. I think he will thrive if it is a true pace. I think at this stage, he's only a 4-year-old, you've got to remember. I think at this stage, his peak performance, if he performs it in this race, and if Via is anywhere near her best, I think he's like half a length to a length off that, in my opinion. He's got more development to do.
Barry 15 sucks for him.
You know where he's going to be, and Via from gate 1, she's going to need some luck as well. But if it is a true enough pace like I'm expecting,
the gaps will open up.
The gaps will open up.
And J-Mac will just go like, I'll take that, thank you.
And with the rail 3 metres out, the fence was off last week. Does that mean the fence is going to be on this week? I don't fucking know.
Who knows, man? But like the thing is like the last time we saw Via Sistina in a red hot pace, she broke all records that could ever be broken in a Cox Plate.
Yeah.
Won by how many? Was it 10 lengths?
So
8
ridiculous.
Lengths. Yeah.
Rated higher than Winks, some say. when she was winning Cox Plates.
So it's like,
Put Winks in this field.
yeah,
What happens?
exactly. So if I'm looking for something outside of, I guess, the favourite, could be Roshan Park. Could be Kitty Cat Tom or Cheerwolf, I feel like you're right about Cheerwolf as well. The last time we saw him in a really hot pace, he thrived. I feel like we've seen some of his better runs over 2,000 metres or the mile. So I reckon, yeah, Cheerwolf, Via Sestina, Kitty Cat Tom. I'm not gonna drop off Kitty Cat.
No. Don't. If they, for whatever reason, if they overthink it and they give Deny Knowledge an easy time up front, I thought she ran super in the Australia Cup. She could catch some napping, but I don't think they'll let that happen after last year.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do because, Mark jumps back on, and last time Mark was on, or whenever Mark rides her, he rides her with some authority. Craig rode her in the Australia Cup, where I think she drove... No, she had a good draw there. They took a bit of a sit, which is not very Deny Knowledge like.
No, it's not.
But a bit of a tactical affair with Pride Jenny, who's coming to Queensland.
She is.
Q22. Target race now.
Interesting.
Q22 into a Caulfield Cup for Pride Jenny. I doubt it.
I doubt that as well.
So, yeah, Via on top. I think fast run race, she'll show her best.
Yeah.
Queen of the Turf. 1,600 metres, Group 1 for the fillies and mares at weight for age level. Gringzinger Bell comes here at 14-1, so she'll be setting a decent tempo. Fangirl, your $2 favourite with J-Mac from Barrier 6.
I thought Grinzinger Bell was a big price.
Yeah.
She'd have to go to a new level, but she's been running super. Could get away with it up front.
Could.
She could, Grinzinger Bell.
Never been on her Sydney leg. Came to Sydney prior to her demolition at Moonee Valley, and I think she knocked her head and cut herself. So just a little superficial wound. She proved that she was fine.
She was fine.
So, yeah, I reckon, if it's a little bit leaderish on the day, she'll be setting them a task.
She's $14 with Neds at the moment. What is that to place? 350? 4?
Hopefully.
Like that's
1 by 3.
like 1 by 3.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's a bad bet at all.
Yeah. Like, who else is going forward here? Like, Sounds of Heaven, Lazura?
But they're not.
No.
They're not genuine leaders, are they?
They're take-a-sit types. Like, is J-Mac going to get Fangirl in a position, like, where he got her in a King Charles?
Yeah.
Like, where to be fair, Jesus Christ has been getting this prep.
Yeah, Jesus Christ has been. J-Mac back on. What's the strike rate he has with this horse? Jockey horse, 12 starts, 6 wins, and 4 placings. Get along like a house on fire, don't they? Sorry to be boring. I just think she wins this. Fangirl.
That shows your insight here and how much clarity you have, because you're probably one of the biggest Fangirl critics, I would say.
Yeah, I just think that she's a bit of a Goldilocks horse, despite the fact that she's got a 30% winning strike rate and has basically been going around in Group 1 since she was a 3-year-old. She's a phenomenal horse. I just always seem to get her beat at the right time, but I think she wins this race. Like, this is a perfect race for her against her own sex. A mile, Randwick, gets a great draw, gets J-Mac. If Grinzinger Burger goes like moderately up front and she's 2 or 3 pairs back with some cover, which J-Mac just always seems to be able to do, get her out at the right time, she'll put this field away. She'll put this field away. She's short enough, but like I said, this could be an astronomical biblical day for the punters, or conversely could be for the bookies.
I'm just looking back at her profile. The last time she was in mare's grade was in the Queen of the Turf in 2022. And that was on a heavy 10 track. Like, don't even bother.
Who won that race?
Nimalee. Damien Oliver.
Yeah, that's right.
Anna Visto ran second. I reckon you might have been on, or you're probably on the ice bath back then.
No, I was on Anavisto.
Yeah.
Because I remember I had like 5 or 6 seconds that day. I had Shiraz in the Sydney Cup.
So that was when she was a 3-year-old because she won the binary 2 weeks prior.
That's right.
So that's the last time she's been against her own sex. That's significant.
That is significant.
That's 3 years of running in basically our top echelon Group 1 races from 1,400 metres right up to 2,000.
Yep.
She's running Cox Plates.
Yep. I think this is the one. This is the one she puts them away.
Yeah.
And she barely, like she had 32 starts and slightly more than half of them have been on good decks. Like, This is the one. This is the one where she puts them to the sword.
She's only missed the trifecta on good ground twice. That would have been a Cox Plate where she arguably should have won that race. Who won that? Romantic Warrior.
Yeah. Fuck. How? I don't know.
Yeah. And God knows the other one. Oh, no. It was, I reckon, the Champions Mile the week after.
Yep.
Where I think she went up favourite. Flemington, J-Mac, perfect sort of stuff. Bit of a leadership stage. She couldn't run him down.
Prodigy.
Yep.
She either ran 4th there or she ran 4th in the Champions Mile last year. Mr. Brightside won that race. Antino...
She ran 3rd.
She ran 3rd. Steffi ran 4th. Steffi's not a bad shout in this race on the quick backup.
Yeah.
Not a bad shout.
Like, sure. A tissue.
Not a bad shout.
She's won this once. 2 years ago. Ran second just last year to Zoo. Gotcha.
Yep. Should have probably won.
Yeah. Nash on.
He's pretty hot.
Good jockey for a tissue. Like, let's go, girl.
Come on.
The time is now.
2 hands, Nash.
Yeah.
Push.
All right, race 10, the Sapphire Stakes, 1,200 metres, Group 2 for the fillies and mares at set weights and penalties grade. You're shaking your head.
It's a tough race.
Yeah.
It's a tough race.
Is this the favourite bash to get all favourites bashed?
I think it could be. I think if you give her a run of the galaxy, because that gate 1 for her is just an absolute disaster, commemorative.
What price is this thing going to start? Barry 13's good for her.
It is good.
Because she's enormous.
And she gets James McDonald. Yeah, she can find some trouble commemorative, but so yeah, 13 for her is good. I really like the setup. I really like the setup for her. She's short enough, but that's what I mean. Like this could be just a day where, like the bookie, like.
So what you're saying is
the sponsors of this podcast could be going into liquidation after Saturday.
Much like Star
Casino. Yeah. It's just
maybe next time.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks straightforward. For like a big day, it's probably the most straightforward I've seen. And, you know, we've tipped the card on Cox Plate Day.
Yeah, we have.
But we were tipping $10 things. You know, there wasn't as many 2s or 1s.
There wasn't a lot of favourite bashing going on. But I think this is a day where, like, I might just have a few filthy multis on my Ned's profile, just have a spec on putting all these favourites together and just watch for the rest of the day.
Exactly. I think so. Might put together some systems.
Yeah, some systems.
Yeah.
And then...
Quinzies.
Yep, exactly. Find some Quinzies.
Yeah.
Yep.
SRMs. Same race multis.
Same race multis. Try and find some value.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's a lot of shorties.
Yeah.
It's enticing.
Is it that simple?
Sometimes you just don't overthink it. Like Al Alcance last week, you know, we were looking at it and we're just like, $2.90. Like, does she just win this race? And evidently she did. It was an easy put your cash in, give it a wash. You come out like, fuck, I got nearly triple the money I started with.
Yeah.
It could be that simple.
It could be. Hopefully it is.
Let's hope. Let's hope we take him for a fucking ride.
Yeah. And, you know, do some gloating as well. But tipping competition.
Yes, last week of the tipping competition.
So we have 2 going toe-to-toe, blow for blow at the top of the order.
Yep.
Cooper cordless. He has no cords.
No cords.
Shout out to the cordless one for sending through some content for us from Randwick last weekend. And Jordan Sondergeld, who... Did he win last time?
No, it was Matt Godoyne.
Godoyne? Godoyne, I believe.
Yes.
At 25, but they're not the only ones with a shout this weekend.
It could be... I've got a bit of a feeling in my waters that we might need to play a tiebreaker next week because there are a lot of shorties, and if neither Cord or Jordan Sondergeld take any risks, they could end up with the same selections.
They could.
So if that's the case, then we might have to have a tiebreaker between the two of you. But we're assuming too much. Mm-hmm. We'll see how it goes. There's still, a good sort of 20 drifters who are in the hunt. Hey, it could be a weekend where a few roughies get up and someone just absolutely catapults up into first position. But
Steffi Magnetica style.
Exactly right.
How many tipped Steffi last week?
2.
Were both your bros or what?
One was my brother, yes. And he also had the prior week light infantry man.
Of course he did.
He puts in a few roughies, but...
I don't see him at the top of the order here.
He's not. It's funny when you pick only roughies. That isn't quite enough to suffice. But yeah, so thanks to all the drifters who've been involved in the tipping comp thus far. This is going to be the last week, most likely. If we have any number of drifters who are on equal points come the end of Saturday, we'll do a tiebreaker, I think.
Tiebreaker, or we just split it?
Maybe we get in contact with those who are at the top if there's a tie and ask them what they want to do.
That's a good idea, mate. I reckon.
We got their contact details.
We do.
This isn't as big as the US Masters competition that's going live tonight.
I'm assuming that's why we've run through this, because I'm assuming we have some study to do, because we have a 2-hour deadline to get everything in.
Mine's already done.
Oh,
yeah. I've got no idea when it comes to golf drifters, but I just did a bit of research on some notable sites as to what I should be doing. So I'll
TikTok,
not TikTok, but some gambling platforms.
Yeah. Did you put the chef in? Let him cook?
No.
Minwoo, what?
I didn't.
Let him cook, bro.
I didn't, because I felt like everyone was going to try and cook with him. And I'm like, if I've got a chance of getting this out right.
Scotty?
I'll run them through. I'll run them through.
Right. I love the Masters.
So for my pool 1 selection, so this is those at the sort of top end of the betting, you get 2 selections drifters. I've got, because we were talking about him the other day and how he's a massive choker, Rory McIlroy.
You went Rory?
I went Rory because we were talking shit. And I was like, I would hate for Rory to come out and play well. And I've gone Brooks Koepka as well.
Yeah, Brooks is a stud, bro.
He's a stud.
Yeah. Like, he's been interviewed saying that basically whenever he's on a golf course, all he's prepping for is Augusta and the majors. So it's like when he's winning live tour events, he's just like visualizing, all right, this is similar to the 4th at Augusta. Let's hit this shape.
Music to my ears.
Brooks is a stud.
Pool 2, Sepp Straka.
Yes. Yep.
Pool 3, Maverick McNeely.
Who the fuck is that?
Because of his name. It's like, that's a phenomenal name. He's going in. And then Pool 4, Cameron Davis.
Yes. Aussie.
Yes.
He's good.
Apparently he's doing a bit of this.
Yeah, he plays well at the Masters. Yeah. He was playing well in some PGA events last year.
Yeah.
He was in the mix for the 2nd Olympic spot.
Shit.
Yeah. Which Minwoo Lee cooked late, and he got it.
Yeah.
Based on world rankings, because Jason Day was still the top ranked Aussie.
Oh, right. Okay.
Been doing the damn thing, Jason, for a while.
He has.
Yeah.
How long ago did he win?
He hasn't won Augusta. He's
a major.
He won the US Open, maybe. I think he won at Pebble Beach. Be 2016-ish.
Shit, that long ago.
Yeah, but he's won other PGA events.
Yeah, just not a major.
Yeah, he wouldn't have won for a while. I'm assuming. I sound like a big golf guy, but I don't know it back to front.
So, yeah, wish me luck, Drifters.
Yeah.
As a guy who has no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah. I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Tax-free.
That'd be nice.
It'd be nice.
Yeah. I think you'd be the only bloke with those selections, which is what you want.
Yes.
That's what you want. Mm-hmm. All right. Anyway, we'll be watching the Masters. We'll be watching the horse racing. We'll be watching... what else? The Brisbane Lions. We'll be watching the Brisbane Broncos.
Yep.
The Dragons.
God.
Who have they got this weekend?
The Titans, which is a bit icky. Very icky.
No Tino?
I don't think so, which is phenomenal. And it's down at Wollongong, which is helpful.
Always tough to go to the Gong.
It is. I'm actually going to be in Melbourne this weekend, Drifters, so I'm going to be calling in on Sunday morning because I'm going to be watching the Melbourne Storm take on the Wars Sunday afternoon.
Up the Wars.
Up the Wars.
Yeah. Are you going to be Team Wars or Team...
Nah,
Team
Storm would probably be my second team, I'd say. So many good Queenslanders have played for him over the journey.
Yeah. I like Harry Grant. He's so good out dummy half.
He's so good.
So good. Anyway, we'll see you later. Hooroo.
See you, Drifters.